and welcome to another episode of Thought That Get Results. I'm Everett Weber Herbert, and as per usual, we're here every Tuesday evening with something that at least we think is of community interest and or of some concern. And if you think that you have something which fits into that category, you'd like to find out how you can be a part of the program, well, why don't you drop us a line, address it to the Let's Talk program in care of Vaughan Radio, P.O. Box 195 in Charlestown, or drop us a line, address the Let's Talk program in care of Vaughan Radio, P.O. Box 195 Charlestown in Nevis, or give us a call. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. By the way, those will be the numbers you'll use to be a part of this evening's discussion. Again, thank you all very much for joining us. This is your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. With regard to your participation in the show, we encourage you to call in on the numbers listed 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion. They got a question and or comment. Perhaps you can get a pencil, piece of paper, write it down so that when you're getting on the show, you're well organized and you take as little time as possible so that we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, you respect yourselves and then respect others, because we will not accept anything we deem not within our broadcast standards. Thank you all again for joining us. Your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. Also, you can follow us live on our YouTube platform and subscribe to us at Vaughan Radio, or also follow us on our Facebook page. You can see the video stream. Tonight, this special program is simulcast by the Nevis Newscast, Channel 8 as well. Tonight, we're teaming up with the Nevis Division of the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force Superintendent David. We discuss with the police, and we're trying to cooperate with them as much as possible so that we can have a better, safer community. We're asking you to listen carefully to what he has to say, what the young folks who are with us here have to say as well, and then later on join in the discussion. We're hoping that out of this and then other forums, we can indeed come to a better and safer society. We thank Superintendent David, and I'd just like to add this personal note that, you know, everybody's talking. That's cool. But let's do some thought that get results. And it means that those of us who just keep grumbling, we got to speak out. You haven't begun yet? We can start tonight. Superintendent David, good evening and thank you for coming.
Having me here with you and the persons in radio land listening and viewing, also on the internet and TV, right here in our federation and throughout the electronic world.
Okay, now as I have indicated, we've put this program together, and you've got some folks who you've added to be with you here tonight. Yes. You can first of all introduce them and then let the listening public know why you're here, what we expect to be doing, and what we're hoping to achieve tonight.
Okay, thank you much. Thank you very much, Weber. This evening I have with me Arlen and Amy, two young persons from the community of Nevis, and we're here to discuss the youth perspective on crime. We have seen where crime in our federation would have changed, the way the criminal crimes are committed have changed, who are involved, and we have had many discussions, and out of those discussions, I realized that we left out a particular group in the discussions publicly, and that group is the youth. And I do believe that the youth, apart from where a number of persons believe that the majority of the persons who are committing crime and who are in prison are youth, I also want to look at, as the commanding officer in the Nevis Division, that the youth also has a role to play in crime prevention, crime detection, and also in terms of bringing about solution to certain social activities that may also cause criminal activities to take place. Also, with the youth involvement, I do believe that youth listen to youth, and the youth will help youth change from certain unacceptable behaviors in our society. And that's the reason why we're here this evening, because currently, as our nation would observe, we have what we call an operation taking place, we call Operation Enduring Safety. And with this in mind, the youth are also involved in making our country much safer, where we can do many things: live, work, play, and do business. And people can come and visit us right here in our federation.
Okay, now let's go to the two folks that we have and let them introduce themselves.
Alan.
Okay. Good night. My name is Arland Vaughn. I'm here also to give my input on how crime can be curbed. We all know that once we have life and once the enemy is around, there'll be crime. But we have to try and minimize crime as much as we can. So I'm here to give my input. That's how we can go about that.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Zadia Brown, and I'm also here assisting with the discussion on crime this evening.
This is Thought That Get Results. We're looking at the crime and the criminality situation, and we're hearing from the youth perspective. With us also is Superintendent David of the Nevis Division of the St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. We'll be back after these.
Place you can go to and relax and enjoy a healthy meal? Check out Island Life Vegetarian Food and Juice Bar, located at Pinny's Industrial Site below the supply office. They are open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. They offer you healthy, delicious, nutritious food on a menu that boasts Ital food, sandwiches, burgers, roti, puddings, and much more. They have a wide variety of freshly squeezed fruit and vegetable juices and smoothies that includes beet, carrot, pumpkin, tamarind, star apple, and sarsaparilla, and much more. Contact them today at 660-5318 or 668-3107. Get your generators now and be prepared for the upcoming hurricane season at Builders Paradise for only $2,250. Yes, you heard that right. $2,250. Located at C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park, Basse-Terre, St. Kitts. Builders Paradise is there to help you to be prepared. Builders Paradise, where your island dreams begin.
From Queen City, Nevis, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, Vaughn Radio.
Back on this episode of Thought That Get Results. If you're just joining us, we're encouraging you also to log on to us at our Facebook page and at Vaughn Radio, and also our YouTube platform. You could click on Vaughn Radio and subscribe to us, and you can watch the video feed. Also, the Nevis Newscast NTV8 is carrying this program as well. The Superintendent David of the Nevis Division of the St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force is here with us, along with Orland Vaughn and Zadia Brown. They're two young folks, and we are eager to hear their perspective on the situation of crime and the antisocial behavior that is plaguing this society. Let's go back to David. What we're going to do, Superintendent David, we're going to get a comment, opening comment from each of you, and then we'll get into the full discussion. And so we can go in any order you wish.
Okay, I will start off first. I will be the opening batsman this evening. Right here in our island of Nevis, we realize that there are a number of criminal activities that have taken place that have caused a number of persons in our community to feel a bit insecure, feel edgy. Now, when we look at what is taking place, a number of young persons are involved. Young persons are involved in terms of, one, being perpetrator, two, being victims. And apart from being victims to crime and violence, we also realize that they are also participating in negative or social negative behaviors. That one, they tend to have some language that is not fitting for people of school age persons. And then also persons who would have been above that age, 18 and in between 35, they also encourage bad behavior, apart from them actively participating in it. We also look at it wherein they are of the view that it is my life and I can do whatever I want with it. I make my own decisions. I am my own man. I am my own woman. If you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. And sometimes if I want something, I do whatever I want to get it. Then we have our parents. Some of them are loving and kind, and they will discipline, and they will listen to persons in authority, teachers and adults, police officers and the like, who will say, look, your child is unruly, your child displaying certain behavior that is not acceptable. And they will listen and administer some form of discipline. However, there are some, don't talk to me, child. I'm be left him, not tell him nothing. They will charge into a school and they will say, look here, don't hit me child again, not take the lick from nobody. And then what we see happening that the children now will display a sort of behavior that I am my own man, I am my own woman, and therefore since mommy or daddy approve of my behavior, I definitely do as I like. And then guess what? Then we see bullying take place in school, and from bullying we see it expand to the high schools, into the community, and then we have gangs formation. And because I am accustomed, every time I want something I go take it and nobody tell me anything, it leads to stealing and robbery, and sometimes you may even have some rapes. Because if I see a girl and I like her and she's not taking me out, well, I just take what I want. I accustomed of doing that. So we are saying we have a problem. And I believe that our youth can help us. And that's why I have my friends here with me this evening. And the youth speaks to the youth. Certainly, I believe that we'll have a listening ear. I pause for now, and I have someone come in at this time to give their perspective.
Okay, let's go to who's gonna, Mr. Vaughn.
Yes. Well, firstly, I want to give my definition of crime. My definition is an act done by a person or a group that is not legal. That's a crime. Now, being a teacher for over 15, 16 years, I have realized a lot of negative actions from our young people. And I also realize the negative actions from the parents. Some of the parents are young and some are middle-aged. But the actions, they are the same from the children. And to me, it's an act of rebellion, which is very sad. And so we have to try to find why the children are rebelling. As we go on in the show, I'll give my input on why I think the children are rebelling. And as a youth, I think, on a spiritual point of view, I'll see what I can do in my community to try and curb the problem for the better.
Okay, well, crime, of course, is a hot topic these days as more and more young persons are getting involved in this act. It is my view that, crime doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's people who commit the act, not necessarily the weapon or whatever means that they may use. And I also believe that crime, its origin starts in the home. Because if you have a good home life, and if you have a good upbringing, then persons are more prone not to go down that road and take the higher road. So all of this should come out earlier, well, later in this discussion.
Okay, now we're mentioning that this, in terms of the discussion, what we expect to come out. Now, we also, Superintendent David, you
Yes.
had mentioned what your findings are.
Yes.
And you mentioned some of the positions
Yes.
that are taken by the young people,
Yes.
some of the positions that are taken by the parents.
Yes.
Now, but it seems to me that if a person feels that they have the authority to take these positions, it seems to me that there should be a corresponding responsibility with it.
Right.
But that is not done, right? Because hence we have the problem.
Right.
Because obviously, it used to be that if you know what the problem is, you're halfway to solving it.
That is correct.
And over the years, including what we've heard so far, we seem to be able to identify what are the problems.
Yes.
So why are we not halfway to the solution?
Well, one of the things I see where we have adopted a sort of a culture wherein, you know, and it also comes from the music industry, whether it's rap, reggae, once ago it used to be Informer, something gonna happen to Informer, and then you have Rat, you know, and then if you're not a rat, you're a snitch. And as a result, we've seen where some persons may commit crime right in the presence of people, and when the police go, well, I may see nothing, I don't know. And as a result of that, we have persons are not willing to come forward. Then you'll find the criminals now, they will get emboldened. And as a result, a person will get some sort of word, look here man, I don't like what you do. So you get intimidation. And then apart from intimidation now, you may find someone may want to take out a particular act at a person, cause injury and sometimes even death. That in itself will trigger a fear in society. And we're saying at this time, it is time for society to take back its streets, its playgrounds, its shops, stores, empty lots, the sea, the coastline, the beaches, even the mountain. You have to take it back. And how do we do that? We will have our discussions, and then law enforcement, with the help of Parliament that will bring about a few legislation, we will enact to ensure that all these things are done. I think it's just recently I see where we are strengthening some laws. We'll be strengthening some laws like the Firearm Act and the Anti-Terrorism Act and the Gang Act and so forth, to ensure that persons who are involved in these activities will definitely, once they're brought before the court and convicted, the punishment that they will get will deserve the crime and bring some relief to society.
Yeah, but the truth is though, and we have to get to the cold hard facts.
Yes.
That I think most will agree that we've had maybe almost 2 decades
Right.
of basically the crime situation being almost at, out of control. It's been for a while.
Right.
We got to accept that, right? Now, you just suggested, we're improving the laws all the time. But the evidence shows that it continues to escalate.
Right. Yes.
So it's obviously not that we should stop improve the laws, but it's obviously we got to do more than just that.
Well, when I look at it, it's like, and that's why I have the youth here with me, is that it's a societal problem. Our society, a good cross-section, has now come to accept wrong for right and right for wrong.
And it is the same society that is suggesting that we don't want to accept wrong for right.
That is so.
But so it's puzzling, right? Because
Exactly.
if I'm saying that too many murders are happening,
Right.
too much criminal activity is happening,
Yes.
and the evidence shows that it is done by me.
Yes.
But I'm saying it's too much of this. So the same society is involved in it.
Right.
And the same society is saying that we don't need this thing.
Right. Like I mentioned earlier, an adult will say, that little boy there, he sways too much. He needs discipline.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what he says about another person's child. The shoe goes on the other foot. Well, nobody tell him nothing. I'm on CB. Now you see what I'm getting at. At one point in time, when you are not the one who is involved, it's okay to say what should happen. When a relative of yours is not involved, it's okay for you to say what has happened. But as soon as your son, your daughter, your husband, your wife, your mother and your father, your cousin, your best friend is involved, you say, no, it can't be. No, leave him alone. And that's where our society is. And recently in the US, a crime took place, and a father was watching the TV and said, that's my son, and he called the police. Yeah, who here would do that? Not much people would do it, but that's what we want society to do. Stop, accept crime. And our young people here, in our community, I do believe that they have a message for the youth, because it's the youth. And even though my parent may not be good parents, I believe if I have good friends, I should come like my good friends, because they say, look, man, if you're going to continue swear your bad word and be deviant and so forth, we don't want you to be among us, because you bringing bad things to us. Some may say that, and some may say, look, we're going to try and see if we can change you to be a good model citizen, so that one, when you reach that age, you can get a job. Because sometimes your past can create problems for your present and your future. So if you do not get involved now, your future will look good in terms of how society will accept you, and in terms of getting that job that you want. And a lot of people now want to travel to the United States of America and other countries. And if you have a criminal record and certain crimes are on it, you can't get the visa to go, you know, because they see you as a criminal. Come in. So that's how I look at it. I don't know if any one of my panelists here would want to come in on that.
Okay, I would like to say something. Now, each person on earth was created by the highest one, God. So therefore, each person deserves respect. Okay. Now, even dogs know when they're not treated right. They run away from you. Some dogs will attack you,
Right.
if you treat them unfairly.
Yes.
So, what I have realized, right, if a person feels that he is not treated right or fairly, or he feels that he's been taken advantage of, the person normally does a couple of things. One, he could complain. He could ask for help. But there are some people, after being treated badly for so long, they take matters into their own hands. For example, an eye for an eye. That was one of the laws given for Moses. If you hit me, I'll hit you back. Because after complaining for so many times, all these times, and nothing has been happening, you have robbed my family, you robbed the house down low, and they accuse the neighbor. The next step is to attack the neighbor. Now, this is real stuff. When a person feels that he's not treated fairly, he's going to rebel and take matters in his or her own hands. So therefore, one of the ways we can try to curb crime in this little beautiful island of St. Kitts Nevis is to treat each other with respect. Do not treat people unfairly and expect you are going to sleep happy, and every day, every night they go to sleep feeling sad and used. They are going to get help and rebel and attack. So we need to treat people fairly. I think if we should start right there. You see, the reason why I'm saying this is because almost everybody in St. Kitts Nevis are Christians. You find yourself in some church, whether it be on Sundays or on Saturdays, and everybody has something to say about Jesus. But really and truly, we do not treat each other right. And I think that's one of the main problems.
But let me ask you this. The scenario and the thinking that you just put forth, it seems to me that there is something in place for when that happens. So that if there's a prescribed way to treat each other, and one of us violate that way, it seems to me that there is a prescribed method of dealing with it. And the prescribed method is not what you have just said is used. So if I understand that we want to ensure that we treat each other properly with respect, but life doesn't happen like that. There's a reason why when they build laws or make laws, they at the same time put police officers in place. Because there's an expectation that not everyone will obey the laws that are prescribed. So it seems to me that where we might have to do some work is to appreciate that not everybody will follow the guidelines as prescribed. That's have respect for each other and treat each other well. So we must be taught and we must learn and understand that when we deviate from that, there's also a prescribed way of dealing with it, and not the way that, you know, we are saying that because we seem to be accepting that given that one didn't treat the other well, then they must go and use their own method. They used to call it, in Jamaica, things got so out of hand, where they, well, in the States they used to call it cowboy justice.
So because jungle justice, you mean?
Yes.
Jungle justice.
So, Mr. Vaughn, you see what I'm saying? So the youth also must understand that, right?
Okay, I could say.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what I'm saying, what I just said, is a reason why we have crime. Because if you are treated unfairly and you complain, remember I said you complain or you report, and you have been reported all the time. All the time. Well, the next step for a natural human being without Christ, remember I said that you have to have Christ for you to take that suffering. Well, without Christ, you're going to respond, because if you seek for help and you're not getting the help from the authorities, naturally, for a relief, you are going to commit some kind of crime.
And you're suggesting...
I'm
that
not saying
these
that's
are
right.
things, yeah, right, but you're suggesting these are things that actually happen.
These are things that actually
And
happen.
you're suggesting that there are incidences of the youth and other folks who have been aggrieved
Right.
And nobody listens.
Nobody listens.
And so they take matters in their own hands.
Exactly.
And in some of the instances, you have had evidence that the people who are in the end committing these crimes or allegations of crime, when the truth is we don't know who they are, because the point is nobody gets arrested most of the time. But if they do complain, though, as you say, then we should in the end have an idea of who done it.
Exactly.
No?
Well, we should. And that's why I said earlier that you find, because nobody wanted to be branded a rat or a snitch, you know, nobody will say anything. And then you have the stage now where a person will say, well, I can't trust the police. Police are also involved, you know, and as a result, police are also involved. They figure, well, I have no way to turn. But then, is it true? I will say that it is not true. Because if you had a bad experience with one police, we have a few hundreds, that doesn't mean they're all bad. Yes. So you should find the good one. And how you do your test. I like to tell people, look here, I'm not going to put myself up because I feel like I can be trusted, but it's up to you. If you're not feeling comfortable with me, don't come and tell me. But if you feel comfortable with me, come and tell me. And if you feel comfortable with another officer, go and tell him or her. And I also like to suggest anonymous reporting. So you can write an anonymous letter to the chief of police. I know some person will say, well, we have smartphones now. As soon as I call, my number going to pop up. Well, you can block your number, you know, and call the chief of police or a senior police officer and say, look, I am reporting thus. You know, you call our police headquarters, I am reporting thus. Because once you're giving information, the police officer should try to get that from you, as opposed to say, who you be again? But the person said, I don't want nobody to know me.
Superintendent, this is what you're explaining there.
Yes.
It is prevalent in terms of what people say.
Yes, that is true.
That's true.
And that's a deterrent from victims and other members of society to report crime. So we are looking at it from the police standpoint, is that in spite of these things happen, who else will investigate crime and bring the perpetrators to justice other than the police? And that's why we are basically trying to put out there and a high flag that you should report crime still to the police. You must find somebody who you would feel comfortable speaking to. You must, as a police force. If you can't find somebody where something is wrong, in my mind.
You think, whereas some persons genuinely had experiences of reporting to the police, not getting that confidentiality.
Yes.
And on the other hand, some people use it as an excuse.
Yes, they use it as an excuse. I will tell you, a few days ago, we had a meeting, and I spoke about crime. I said, look, there are some people don't report crime, you know, so we may not get the actual thing. Somebody said, what do you mean, he does? So I said, what's good you see? Either later and they did the next day. An officer called me and said, so you were right, you know, because I happened to go into an area, and I was told about these two incidents. So had the police got there, they would have never been reported. And I guarantee if you ask the person, they will say, boy, I would have been a victim before. I do not like the way the police treat me, so I decided I'm going to not report it. And then now there are some people who say, well, look, I don't want to get myself in trouble, so I decided to stay out. And the person threatened me. But we are saying it is time for our community to take it back.
But they also...
How do we do that? We report, and give good information so that once we operate, we can find some of the things that we are looking for with those persons. You may not even be required to give evidence based on how things go. Because I know that's the key. The key thing is that person are free to go and give evidence. And we are working on that in terms of making it easier for persons to give evidence. I know we have had, we are working on where a person can be in a remote area and give evidence. You know, and we have had that. We also have, we are working on witness protection, and previously we would have had ACP Mitchell who would have went and spoke on witness protection. So we have done all of that, and we're doing it. So we're saying that give give safety and security that try, and the youth also have a role to play in that. So that's just how we are looking at it from the police force. And I know there are many youth out there who would like to speak to their fellow, their peers regarding their behavior that trigger fear in the minds of a good cross-section of our society.
Zadia, what are you hearing among your peers? They discuss it, and what are some of the things that you're hearing?
Well, Mr. Herbert, I'm not a person who limes that often, so I'm not in those type of discussions. When we do discuss things, it's not crime or criminality, so that's where I'm at.
But you hear of it, you're part of the society, do you hear what happens?
In terms of crime?
Yes.
I hear it on the news.
Right.
And in WhatsApp, of course.
Okay, and in your group and in WhatsApp, when you hear of it in the news, do you discuss it among yourselves?
There is no group, Mr. Herbert, to discuss things like that. No.
No, I mean including in WhatsApp. So for instance, suppose something happens tonight with involving somebody who you know, and somebody WhatsApped you, didn't hear what happened with so and so, and so on and so forth. So I'm asking, what is your thinking? How do you feel? For instance, it may not involve you, it may not involve your friends, but do you begin to feel unsafe? Do you begin to wonder, well, if it happened to them, can it happen to us?
Well, in reference to WhatsApp, it's just information coming to me. It's not that there's a group and we have the type of discussion. You know, of course, there is the popular Bucky got it, and people definitely send those stuff out. But in terms of getting information in relation to crime, I believe our society has now come to the norm where it is like, it's no longer an alarm. It's now a norm of the day. So you hear someone got shot, it's like nothing. It's just a regular occurrence. You're surprised at who got shot sometimes, but in terms of feeling shocked that, oh boy, somebody got shot, I need to, stop going out. No.
You see, that's interesting, Superintendent.
Yes.
And maybe it's not just her group.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a society.
Right.
So maybe that's why we're where we're at.
Right.
And then the noise is just noise then.
Yes. Yes. Well, since I came over here, I had the opportunity of visiting the two high schools and secondary schools over here. And I made some observations. And I said, boy, there has to be some intervention now. And with that intervention, I'm speaking about attitude and behavior. As Arlen said earlier, respect. Love for your fellow man, because these are things that are lacking. A fellow with mash you, and you say, excuse me, just step on my foot. So, and he don't care. A fellow wants to pass, and he just barge you down, and then when you look at it, he now becomes an adult. The same thing, you and the cross in the back will knock you down off the cross and say, you see me driving? Yeah. Today I was speaking with some young ladies, right? And they say, I'm going to listen to you, Mr. David. I'm going to listen. So she said, make sure you mention this. So I said, were you part of the day program? And she said, look, I love the day program. We need programs like these. And the generation in my mind that went through the day program, they had not, a number of them I have not seen within the criminal justice system. You just have one or two. But those who did not have the opportunity of being through it, we have seen where they're totally involved. Currently, we are offering MAGIC, mentoring, advising, guiding, instructing children. That is the primary school. And we have TAPS, Teens and Police Service, which is in the secondary schools. So currently, we have TAPS taking place in the secondary. And we have not had that intervention in the primaries yet. So she said, well, what are you going to do with the primary? Because it starts right there. And she's right. Because what happened, the primary schoolers, they start to frame the cliques, start to frame the cliques. And then the parent now will say, look, no hit my child. And with that now the child get that attitude and they keep on bullying Alan, bullying my friend there. And then nobody could do the child anything. You may not want to, a principal may not want to, what you call it, suspend or whatever, a primary schooler. But very deviant, very disruptive, and very aggressive. May even want to fight with the teacher. How do you deal with something like that? And then I said to, every time I interact with a principal, I said, look, you need to invite the police to speak to the school. I will come myself, I will send an officer, and before I let someone else come on. It's just a few days ago, myself and a constable, we went to up Brown Hill, the school up there, Ivor Walter School, and we were speaking about bullying. But we were speaking to the teachers, and they loved the idea. They want us to come back. And I do believe that we need more discussions like these so people could understand what is happening in our society. So tonight we have the youth. Maybe sometime we'll have adults, maybe from the business. What do business persons think about crime in society? Do you think it prevents commerce? But right now we're looking at youth. Do you think it prevents that proper maturity, growing up in a society where we had peace abound, but now we have violence roaming? So we hope that with our intervention tonight and what we're doing with the police force, that we can get more people who are civic-minded to come and approach you one time. Everyone say, look, I have a program. I like what Superintendent David did. Because it's not just for the police, it's for the entire community.
But, yes, Mr. Vaughn.
Yeah, like this is something again. No, God didn't make any criminals, you know. No, wherever I see it, criminals have been molded and they grow from an early age. For example, you may have a well-renowned student in school. He has it, money, he's rich, and you find teachers and head teachers, they stay off. They stay off. The child is innocent. He does certain acts. He's innocent. But what we do, we mold the child in this bad behavior, and the child grows and feel that he's a bully, and he goes into societies and he bullies people, and this develops. He grows older, he gets worse. Not I'm saying he, but they. It's more than one. So what we have to do, like I said, we have to teach these children, and when it's time to discipline, parents should discipline children and teachers. Now, when I was growing up, I wanted to be in the cadets. I was a Seventh-day Adventist, and cadets normally the most training on Saturdays and so on the weekends. Now, I feel what government can do, or could do, is even if you have to force these children, especially those who normally misbehave at school, is put them in the cadets. Put them in the cadets. You want to give them time out, put them in the cadets. I mean, you have some real rigid training in the cadet that will help these children. Because in the area that we are living, you don't want to be sued because you discipline a child by even talking too hard to the child. That can be very offensive if a teacher raises his or her voice to a child and the child feels threatened, and so the teacher. You know, nobody wants to be sued. But if you take it on a government point of view, you put these children into cadets. It's going to benefit them. So that's one of the ways you can help, because all of this behavior starts in school and in homes. It starts right there when the child wants to have his or her own way, and he gets through, and this develops. You see, so these are things we should look into.
This is thought that get results. Superintendent David of the Nevis Division of the St. Christopher Nevis Police Force. Arlen Vaughn and Zadia Brown, they are two youth from our society, and we're discussing the antisocial behavior. We're discussing whether or not we can get a grapple on things as we continue to expect a better society. And we're back after these. Your phone calls a little later on 1-869-469-1616 and 1700. And also remember, you can join us on our YouTube, subscribe to us, or you can follow us on our Facebook page. We'll be back after these.
Limited, located next to the Mondo Truck on Long Point Road, Nevis, specializes in the manufacture of 24-gauge pre-painted Galvalume roof sheets and the sale of tropical green hat lumber. They offer the traditional corrugated roof design for residential buildings along with the U-panel design for commercial buildings. Their roof sheets measure 42 inches in width and are manufactured on site and can be cut to whatever length you desire, thus eliminating the need for joining your roof sheets. Their aluminum-based roofing sheets, which are available at an affordable price of only $14 per foot, are of the highest quality. Their opening hours are Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. For more information, call 664-2441 or 664-2959. Island Roofing and Hardware Limited, meeting your complete roofing needs by providing quality products at affordable prices.
Get your generators now and be prepared for the upcoming hurricane season at Builders Paradise for only $2,250. Yes, you heard that right, $2,250. Located at C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park, Basse-Terre, St. Kitts. Builders Paradise is there to help you to be prepared. Builders Paradise, where your island dreams begin.
When BON vibrates, the whole Caribbean must shake.
860 AM, the Powerhouse.
Back on this episode of Thought That Get Results with Superintendent Lyndon David of the Nevis Division of the St. Christopher Nevis Police Force. Arlen Vaughn and Zadia Brown are two youths in our society. Now, there's a very interesting point that was made earlier, and Mr. Vaughn was referring to, some of the things that are necessary to do with the children in terms of discipline and all that, and so on and so forth, and what the government should do. But can the government just go and take children and do things?
In some countries, they will have this mandatory military type service, where youth, some countries, I think maybe Israel might have had it for a while. And once you reach a certain age, you go into the military. Now, there are some countries, I remember when I was young, Scouts, Brownies, Girls Guide, these things almost seemed like it was mandatory from the parental and social level. We never had where we had it from the government level. But I believe government can do it if it feels like.
Well, let me ask
if it feels like, but that could be a good discussion.
But before you get to government doing it, I also went into a paramilitary organization.
Yes.
But the government did not send me.
You went?
I didn't go. My parents sent me.
Oh, okay.
Because they had and accepted responsibility for me.
Right.
I'm wondering if we're suggesting that the government then, therefore, accept responsibility for all these children and then say, well, this is what you have to do. You have to go into this paramilitary organization, etc., etc., etc. And then when they come out successful, then the parent take back ownership, so to speak, of them. That's what we're suggesting?
Well, I believe, Alan, you're the one who brought it up. That was your point?
Well, not altogether. What I said is there are children, you will have these children who, no matter where they are, they misbehave, they cause trouble. So what I'm saying now, rather than sending these children, because you have cases where children would have done crime. Now, which you prefer? To send a child underage to prison, or government takes over the child, put him in cadets, train the child, and then put him back in society, or maybe back in school?
But you're speaking about after they would have committed a crime, and then
it doesn't have to be a crime.
But you see, the reality is this. The reality is this, though, that as you have indicated earlier, even when there is some infringement, a lot of the times the parents come and they say, not my child.
Right.
He did not do this or he didn't do that.
Right. Yes.
So that's why I'm saying, well, then, before you can make such a decision, then maybe you have to, first of all, just deal with it after this procedure has taken place.
Well, I believe, right, that same thing that Arlen brought up, that could be a good national discussion. To say, look, once you reach a certain age, it is mandatory that you should go and join a particular program. If we believe that the youth right now, they have gone to a stage where boys, like, we're losing our children towards ill discipline, lack of love and respect, and if we put them, if we have, like, whether the cadets or something, I wouldn't say like a boot camp, you know, but cadets and something that will bring discipline. Within there, they learn life skills. So not only you learn drilling and you learn maybe military or police stuff, but you learn how to cook, how to wash, how a young man will treat a young lady, how a young lady will respond to a young man, and how you will respond to an adult, and how you will take up national pride, like our independence, love, pride, and we talk about these things. So,
but how much involvement do you really get?
Well,
because you see, the thing about it is, as you rightly said, it's a discussion.
Yes.
And the first thing factually will happen, as the discussion starts, there will be an opposition.
That is so. That is so.
Right? And then, depending on where the momentum is,
yes,
the discussion might just fall apart. Because once you start the discussion and you're speaking about politics and the government doing it or not, and then you have enough people who seem to be opposing it,
right.
Once you realize that's not going to get you the votes and get you where you want, you drop it. No?
That would be the thing, but at least you had a discussion and you will stimulate something. And then maybe it may not happen now, but 5 years later somebody say, you know something, I think we should go back to that, because remember, behavior will not remain constant. You're going to continue to evolve. And the way, if we probably get someone who look at say futuristic crime patterns, or somebody will say, like, in the next 5 years, we will see a doubling or tripling of this because of what we are now seeing in school. Predictive crime. You may have a change in the mindset, because based on what we are now seeing, we are predicting that this will be a likely outcome. Now, sometimes predictive crime strategies may not be on target, but at least you're basing it on what is happening now that would stimulate a discussion, stimulate some sort of action. And I do believe that we need more after-school programs, whether it's martial arts. I like martial arts. I'm into martial arts. It's good discipline.
Mandatory stuff. Because
you got to choose. You choose from
the reason why I ask you if you're suggesting mandatory stuff, because the truth is we have them. There are a lot of after-school programs put on by private people and so on and so forth, but they don't go.
Well, the system, based on what we're currently seeing, like as you mentioned earlier, it could have a big debate, but this is something that our society has to look at. What do we want for our children? If they're our future, How are we going to engage them? How are we going to ensure that we get the desired outcome? And one of the things I do believe that we need to put into our curriculum is national pride. Sure. Take pride in your country, your flag, your anthem, you know what I mean, the motto. And also, you want to see your country reach, our country is small, but a man could dream big, you know. I want our country to put a man on the moon just like America. As students, we go inside school and develop a spaceship here.
Okay, let me take this. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Good evening, good evening. I think the program is interesting, the topic is interesting. Rebel, you remember, I know you used to live in the British Virgin Islands. You remember Mr. Ali?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a very good friend of mine. And one time we had a conversation. You were talking about education and so forth. And he told me, I remember if he's an Israelite or Syrian or whatever, but he told me when he was growing up, doesn't matter what you went to college to learn, whatever, whether doctor or lawyer, it was mandatory by the government that you had to learn a trade. And so what Orlan is saying, that it's not a matter of dictatorship. Some people don't like it, but there's some aspect of it is good. I don't know if you remember, I don't know if it's here, but I think maybe when I was living in the Virgin Islands, I used to hear about Skerrit. Something, I think some part of it had to do with Antigua or something. Whenever you had these unruly boys, they would send them up to Antigua. And I think some of these programs, I mean, could help. Somebody has to take a stand. I guess maybe the government have to take a stand and to make a pullback, because if something doesn't happen, our federation is really going to fall into a situation where, I mean, right now you have to bring in these armed forces from overseas. I mean, yeah, it's good. Some people don't like it, but it's a way of pulling back and trying to put an end to what is going on.
Caller, might I just engage you here? That last point you make about having to bring in the forces, and we have superintendent here. You know that's a raging debate as well, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, I know that.
Yeah. And it's very alarming to see that people are behaving that way. And I mean, when the government is trying to help deal with the situation. You know, and I was talking about the different programs, you know. I remember I came up through the Scout rank, and whenever we had an unruly boy, we gave him a position, something for him to be in charge of, and it was a matter of discipline. You know, I mean, when he realized that he had to be in charge of something, it was a way of helping him to take responsibility.
Well, let me ask you this. You remember how you got into the Scout movement?
Well, it was not a matter of compulsory. We were encouraged, because the Scout troop was something that helped to mold young people.
But what I'm asking you had to have been about 12, 13 or so you're speaking about, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so what I'm asking you is, you remember how you got into it? Whether you just got up one morning and you decided,
No.
So do you remember how you got into it?
Yeah, well, it was my parents.
Okay.
My parents, my mother.
Right.
You know.
Okay. So let me ask you this: you think that the mothers or the parents now have that same authority?
Yeah, they have it, but they don't exercise it. I guess probably this is with the era that we have now come to is so different. You have a lot of things now that are distracting and attracting our young people, and they don't seem to be really looking at their lives and what is happening.
So the point is then that the parents still have that authority, right?
Yeah, they're the parents. They have it.
Okay, so they're not exercising it, so that's the choice that they make, correct?
Well, I guess so. It seems now that the the children now are the one who exercising the authority.
Okay, so if the parents have they still have the authority, they choose not to exercise it, then you suggest what?
Well, somebody else will have to step in.
And that person you suggest to be who?
And I think the authorities must step in.
Do you mean the government?
The government, somebody. I mean, you know, I mean, if the parents can't handle the children, refer them to some organized group.
So, do I summarize you correctly to say that if, based on how it's going and it's not improving, then the government must take charge of the children?
Well, you know, I mean, Gabo, I mean, look at the United States. If you try to discipline your children, the government take them and they put them someplace, and you know whatever they do with them. So if the government can do that, because you try to discipline your child when you have unruly children, then I think the government should also step into it. I mean, it's you can't step in for one thing and leave the other one undone.
Well, you know, in our society, do you think that the parents has the confidence that the government officials have the experience and the wherewithal to be telling and guiding their children?
Well, vice versa. You know, I think some probably would think that way, and some would think not.
Okay.
We live in a kind of a very vicarious society. You know, some people who you think should take responsibility or have the ability to take responsibility for certain situations, they just can't.
Yeah,
So
but you see, I'm just, you know, pointing out some facts to you because it's a funny thing because once something belongs to someone and they have the authority for it, how do you take it from them? Because that's going to be the first thing. And then, so that's going to be the first challenge, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks much for your contribution. Yes, Vaughn.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to give up. I still want to say something. Government intervening for the benefit of the children and the whole nation. No, the government will not go in and take the children from the parent. I think every parent would like their children to be successful children. No, but each parent has to know that he has to choose. You must choose in life. You can't go to life not choosing. And if you fail to choose, you still chose, even you're not aware of it. So, if you have a child and you realize you yourself as a parent cannot control your child, you just cannot. He's a bully without a weapon. If he has or gets a weapon, it's going to be much worse. So, a sensible parent would embrace the idea of help. You see, having your child going to activities organized by government, police intervening with cadets I think is a good idea. Because one, your child will develop certain attitudes that others will want to have. Don't think your child will be going to cadets in the old-fashioned way where he march all day, stand up in the sun. No. Your child, if he's slow in maths or English, will learn to do these things because you'll have teachers helping or even working. Because once people are working, they get to pay the bills. When people can't pay their bills and they want to put on socks and shoes and eat like you and drink like you, and they can't do it, they resort to crime. They're going to sneak and hide to do it, and then eventually they won't care. So any parent who love his or her children would embrace an idea like that. It's not to demise the child or your ability in rearing your child, because children learn things from different environments they're in. You could train your child, you teach him the whole Bible.
Okay, let me take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I'm multitasking tonight. I'm listening to you and I'm listening to Astafan on Win FM. Right? And we need a month, at least a month long, unabated discussion and not final, but on these topics, because both stations have got all kind of good points and some similar things, and these conversations come and go. And I don't think that the general public is aware, and the parents, everything that you've discussed tonight needs to be done on a broader scale and concentrated. There's so many ideas out there, and if there's a conference where the people that you know that are talking right now on both stations can come together and invite the public, really put down these things here and see how we can narrow down what resources the community has that they can actually work with, and maybe have it in different phases, and have either the government or somebody have a committee, someone that's going to really focus on concentrating on what comes out of these meetings. Because there's so many ideas, and as you said, it's getting worse over the 20 years, and ideas come and go. But I think a sustained effort by a select group in each island needs to come together and get the information from all these sources, but don't stop at one meeting. Find out how you can channel the as I said, I'm going to repeat myself, just channel these ideas and narrow them down into what could be done, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and so forth. Astafan was saying that he was at a meeting where some guys in prison that got CXCs and teaching other people, but they have insights into what's going on, what caused them to get the way that they were. And the public maybe needs to know and hear from these same people that are incarcerated already how they've understood their own situation. So, keep up toilet gas results. Let's see over the next 12 months whether or not this conversation that's going on both islands right now can have results in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, and we can measure it and we can see about. This is where we started on October, whatever the day is, and we move from here. This it's all important, and a lot of people out there willing to help and willing to put the show into the wheel.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes. Superintendent.
Yes, sir.
You know. Let me just take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes. Good evening, sir. Good evening, panel.
Yes, you're on the air. Could you go ahead?
Yes. Yes. Good evening.
Caller, you just go ahead. Keep.
Yeah. The problem I see with the crime that's happening is that our system has not been catering fully for our children. When you look at the school system, we have children who are academically inclined, and we focus a lot on them. Those who are not that academically inclined, yes, they read in 4A, 3 and those grades, but yet still they are not being well prepared, catered for. They don't have enough vocational programs for them. So if they don't love the book work, there isn't any skill, any activity, proper skill activity that will captivate them or grasp their attention so that they could stay in school and learn. Instead, they ain't care about school, and even the way they are treated, they ain't see school interested, and they just get in trouble. And some of them, their parents are not academically inclined either. So there isn't anybody to really hold them and get them to be focused on doing anything. So they are pushed out. There's no positive thing is there for them to do because they get it from home, they get it from school, and then they are pushed into the society where they get the same thing there. And there isn't any government facility to help them with their skill. They may be good at music, they may be good at football, be it male or female. Yes, we do have sports. They do teach that in the schools. But too many times we just concentrate on those who are brilliant, and we don't try to see and find the area that these close children are good at and build them. And if they are not built, they're going to go into society, and they are all going to find their niche. They're going to find people who are in society who could chuck a little $100 in them to make this errand, and then they become good errand boys to deal with the drugs and to do all other ills. And so crime really, from the time they start school, we have to start to see and find the individual talent and build on it. And if we don't, if we wait until we reach high school, it's too late. They would have already been hard, and they already focus on what they want to be, or who is really paying attention to them. So I really think the vocational programs, those programs that the children would be skillful in, they should focus on them. I've traveled to Guyana, and trust me, the government help persons. If you notice, a lot of them around here, they work in agriculture. They are, what you call it, barbers, all those things. They are hairdressers because they focus on them and they help them, even if they pay for them to do training and get them involved in skilled activity. Each person should, in this world, have a skill, whether you're academically inclined or not. So I think there is where we fail our children. They start to give all kind of trouble in school, and we just leave them. And there is where our the crime persons who are going to be involved in crime start. Thank you.
Caller, I could ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
You speak, and tell me if I'm correct. I'm detecting that you're an older person, meaning that you're finished with school already?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. And so
I work with students.
Right, and so you work with students, you say?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you would have known the situations maybe 20, 30 years ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you say that there were more opportunities now than then?
Oh, yes. Plenty.
There are more opportunities now than then?
Yes.
Okay. You would say that there's more antisocial behavior and criminal activity now than then?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Right.
We got a situation where we have had less opportunities then, and we didn't have the rampant criminality and crime.
Right.
But the caller is suggesting that the reason why, one of the main reasons why we have this rampant criminality and crime is because there's not a lot of opportunities for the young people. But we still admit that there are much more opportunities now than then.
Well, Amy, want to take a crack at it?
Well, that could be one of the possible reasons why crime is rampant. Lack of opportunities, lack of stuff to do. because persons are seeking something to do. But I believe there are other possible reasons why crime is rampant. As I was listening to the callers earlier and my colleagues here, I made a bit of a note. Like earlier, my colleague picked up on a comment saying that, no, we hear it often, where parents tend to say that, you know, I have this child at home and I just can't go with them, I can't control them. And usually you'll hear that coming from mostly, you know, single parent household where the mother is the one in charge. Usually, well, for me, I think that when persons make that type of comment, it's geared mostly towards like a breakdown in the value system of the home. Because if you look at it, usually the father is the one who would set these values or at least enforce them. And within these single parent families, the father is absent. So in absence of that stern hand, then the child usually goes rampant. Most of the mothers, you know, mothers were created to be caring and nurturing individuals. Some of them might have a firm hand, but it's quite rare. And I'm pretty sure if we were to do a poll, like to say the persons who are doing crime, because we most likely we know people who are doing crime, I would like to believe that the majority of persons who are involved in crime are perhaps coming from these single parent households where, like I said, the stern hand is not there. The father figure is not there. And so, you know, these persons who would do crime, they're seeking that type of father figure. And of course, they would find it within the gangs and within, you know, that kind of society where it's there. They're looking for it. And so they seek it out in that society. And that is my view as to a possible reason why crime is rampant.
And that's a fascinating view. Could you repeat again for me the point that you made about the mothers or the women in terms in reference to stern hand and leadership?
Well, although we have a society, well, I guess in America mostly, there is this strong black woman mentality. But in terms of, you know, how we were created from the very beginning, you know, women are meant to be the nurturers of children, the caring person, the soft hand within the home. And the men were there to be that firm, strong structure within the family unit. And if you take that out of the family unit, well, some people will say that the mother, you know, steps up to the plate to be a father. But, I mean, come on. It sounds good, but in reality, it does not happen. Mothers are usually the one who say, you know, okay, if you grow up in a nuclear family like I did, the mothers are usually, well, okay, not so much my mother, but mothers in general would usually say, you know, don't hit the child, you know, it's all right. But the father will be the one to get down and say, you know, you have to curb this now.
Yeah, yes.
Like, I could remember, well, I could remember a time growing up where we were away. Well, my parents gave me this experience. We were away, and apparently...
Okay, let me just take this. I'm going to let you continue. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Mike. Hello.
You're on the air. Could you go ahead?
Yeah, I know. Okay. I was married, crime. And I'm going to say, life is not good, but God, life is not fair, but God is good.
Okay, enjoy your night, okay? Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so, you know, as a family, sometimes you travel, and so we were away at one point in time, and, you know, we were in the store, and I saw something that I really liked, and I wanted to have it. And, of course, parents said no, and in parents saying no, sometimes no children tend to throw temper tantrums, which apparently I did at that time. And I went down on the ground, you know, and started rooting up as children usually would. And being the stern father that my dad is, you know, as I said, I get a couple clap one time and I straighten up. And of course that never happened again. So, and I can recall even, well, I'm on YouTube a lot, and that same situation happened. And the dad in the situation was there saying, you know, it was so embarrassing for him that he did not hit his child. He just let her do whatever she had to do and eventually gave in to the child. But then the dad was there saying he's so embarrassed at the situation and can't believe the child did that and it never happened before. But like I said, with my father, he doesn't wait for that to happen again. You know, you see something, you pop it out one time. And as they say, it never happened again.
You know, I'm going to seek your permission to make reference to this comment that you just made again. And that is why it is so important, in my view, to listen to varied opinions. And you made it a view that I noted, and I ask you to repeat, because I'm going to use it again in a debate.
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to say something, Webber.
Yes, sure.
Based on what Amy just said, I've seen where our parents now are saying, and the children are saying, my mother is my best friend, and the mother is saying, my daughter, my son is my best friend. So what happens now, there's no longer a barrier between adult and child. All of us on the same page. So you might see mother and daughter and son almost just alike, going on the road, and the same conversation, nothing different to so adult. And as a result of that, I've started asking people a question. If they know what is parental abuse. Some say no, some say yes. So just like how we see child abuse, we're now seeing an increase, but it's not being reported, an increase in parental abuse. And parental abuse is where the child now becomes the abuser and the parent is the abusee. And it does not have to be an elderly parent. Imagine you have a youngster, 6 feet, full of muscles, and the mother 5 something. When he talk, he roaring like a lion, you know. She just intimidated. The same thing he said, Daddy is not there to say, look, hold on, mister. I am the king of this jungle here. You are just a young cub coming up, but you oversized to your mother. But I am the king here. Stand down. Nobody there. And sometimes an uncle come, say, look, you man there. I am the next in line. The mother, the lioness, said, look here, leave him alone, you know. So when she said leave him alone, well, the uncle, who would have fit into that category, said, hey, I don't want to go to jail. She said, let me back off. So she alone again. Then we know how things been in our federation and throughout the Caribbean and a lot of other countries. A lady has child or children for another man comes in. The crazy man is saying, he absent, you know. But the man who is in the house, he doesn't want him to be that father figure. Where you hear me, child father? Blah, 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 blah. Well, when the child now get caught up with the law, well, you say a man in the house. How come you did that? But you told me, so I'm confused now. You know, so a lot of things start in the home and it's sprung out to society. And when we see them sprung out to society, we are somewhat confused, we're perplexed, but then we have to look at it under the microscope. How did it happen? And some of it come because of neglect. Some of it because we believe we love, but we're not loving our children because we want to be friends with them and we're not being the parent. And then now you have the big brother, you say, look here, nobody gonna hit my small brother and my small sister, you know. Go hit him back. Well, the other child say, big giant, he take the lick. You know? And that happens until they come big. And then you have these gangs forming. Now the gangs reach so far now that they're now robbing people and they're murdering people. So, society, we, as a society, yes, we as a police force, we're doing what we're doing. But we're calling out society to come on board because it starts with you. I am so glad that we did this because this is part of our community policing initiative. And we're engaging everybody. And right now we're engaging the youth and the society hearing what our youth are saying. And I really would like, before we finish, 1 or 2 youth even call in and say something. Sure. Whether they ask our youth a question or they make a statement. Because this is here for the youth. Let the youth perspective of crime. That's what we're saying. So I just want to commend Amy for that point that she brought out. And for a youth to mention that, that's strength, you know, that's strength. Because normally you wouldn't find youth saying, I want mommy and daddy to punish me. And I like it. No, they would say, no, I'm not supposed to get licks. Sure. But she's saying, well, when I get the first lash, I didn't do it again. And look where she is at. She didn't die. Instead, she reformed. Right? She reformed. I learned a lesson. So that's just my take on that, and to let the entire nation know that we really have to get back to good parenting, and you know, with good parenting we come with a good society.
This is Thought That Get Results. Your phone calls on 1-869-469-1616 and 1700. We'll be back after these.
Island Roofing and Hardware Limited, located next to the Mondo Truck on Long Point Road, Nevis, specializes in the manufacture of 24-gauge pre-painted Galvalume roof sheets and the sale of tropical green hat lumber. They offer the traditional corrugated roof design for residential buildings along with the U-panel design for commercial buildings. Their roof sheets measure 42 inches in width and are manufactured on site and can be cut to whatever length you desire, thus eliminating the need for joining your roof sheets. Their aluminum-based roofing sheets, which are available at an affordable price of only $14 per foot, are of the highest quality. Their opening hours are Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. For more information, call 664-2441 or 664-2959. Island Roofing and Hardware Limited, meeting your complete roofing needs by providing quality products at affordable prices.
Looking for a place you can go to and relax and enjoy a healthy meal? Check out Island Life Vegetarian Food and Juice Bar, located at Penny's Industrial Site below the supply office. They are open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. They offer you healthy, delicious, nutritious food on a menu that boasts ital food, sandwiches, burgers, roti, puddings, and much more. They have a wide variety of freshly squeezed fruit and vegetable juices and smoothies that includes beet, carrot, pumpkin, tamarind, star apple, and sarsaparilla, and much more. Contact them today at 660-5318 or 668-3107.
When VON vibrates, the whole Caribbean must shake.
860 AM, the powerhouse.
Back in this episode of Thought That Get Results with Superintendent David of the Nevis Division of the St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, Orland Vaughn and Zadia Brown. They are two youths of our society here with us on the program. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616-1700. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yes, good night. Everybody's beating around the bush. When we were growing up, our parents, it take a village to raise a child. A mother was a strong one in the home. With you saying, oh, the mother, you do something, your mother going to know. Mr. Smith, Mr. Jones down the road going to look out for you. Nowadays, you can't look out for anybody's children. Grandparents was raising your child. Now we have television. Mother is watching one show, child is watching another. Nobody knows what the child are watching. Nobody knows where the children are going. Nobody knows who's are the children's friends. These were things when we were growing up. Your mother had to know where you were going. They had to know your friends. Sometimes these kids on the street, you ask their parents, where are they? They don't even know where the kids are. When the kids come in, they out with their friends. They come in with their managers. The mother can't talk to them. And nowadays, when the police get involved, you're telling them you can't beat your child. We used to get licks for nothing. And we grow up very good. And everybody's beating around the bush. It starts from in the home. You had to, on Sundays, you had to go to Sunday school. Whether you like it or not, you had to go to church. And there is where the foundation built from. Nowadays, how many young children are going to church? How many are going to Sunday school? But in every shows, in everything, and the way they're dressing, who are telling them what the young children, what their hairstyle, what the young guys, how they're dressing, who are buying those clothes? The parents. So it starts from right in the home. And everybody's beating around the bush, and nobody wants to get to that point. Your grandmother were watching out for you. Your auntie were watching out for you. Your neighbor were watching out for you. Good night.
Caller. Okay. The caller is left. But here's a question, Superintendent.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Vaughn and Zadia as well can chime in. Is it possible that we actually know what the problems are, but it is a matter of who should actually deal with them? Is it Is it? Are we at that point in time?
Amy, what you got to say?
I believe that we do know what some of the problems are in terms of who should do them. It seems like everybody is turning the responsibility onto somebody else. I mean, from the dawn of time, the responsibility has always been passed on. You know, Adam blamed Eve blamed the serpent, and they blame God in the end. So nobody wants to take responsibility for their own actions. And if we were to do that, then of course the society will be a far better society than what we have now.
What if we were to use an old adage and abide and live by it? Where goes the glory must also go the shame. So that the persons who, the kids and so on who we're talking about, who are bad and stuff like that, right? Let me just break and take this. Thank you for holding. Good evening.
Good evening, Will. Good evening.
You're on the air. Could you go?
Yeah, my views is I think the police officers then need to take more authority on these youngsters. Like, for instance, on a Friday afternoon, there would be in the square a swearing, and a police officer is across the road on his mobile, and then one of them would say, he looked like he could lock up somebody, and he just walk off. You see, the police, I think a lot of the problem lie with the police officers. They need to take more, to show that they are police officers. Like when we were growing up, we were scared of police officers. Now, the police officers are scared of them. I think there's where the blame lies.
But caller, might I engage you?
Pardon?
Might I engage you?
Yes, please.
But to be fair,
yeah.
you know that even when the police officer, not that they should relent, but you know when the police officers try to do their duties and stuff like that,
yes.
They get cursed from the parents,
yeah,
they get harassed
yes.
from sometimes the politicians and so
yes.
on, and they're human too. So sometimes it's just as difficult for them to exercise their duties, right, as it is for other people in the society, the teachers and so on, to exercise theirs. You don't agree with that?
No. You
really?
You are the law. You are the law. You don't give about nobody else. You are the law. If a youngster misbehaves, lock him up. And you don't care who has what to say. Lock him up. Simple as that.
I got you.
Okay, good night.
I got you.
I'd like to say on that though, Webo, though I understand the how the caller look at the seriousness of what is now taking place, we have to look at the constitutional responsibility of the police, and if a particular behavior activity is not legislated to make it a crime or an offense, the police will not touch it, because to touch it, acting outside of the law and unconstitutional. Now, to say police are afraid, I will not say police are afraid, but sometimes there are some officers, especially young ones, they might be looking at things in a different way, because remember, the police, as Sir Robert Peel so rightly put it, the police is the community and the community is the police. So therefore, the police came out of the community. Therefore, you have certain belief systems of the community. So a man will say, well, a young officer will say, well, I take on that, man. Some may adopt that stance. Another officer will say, look, hey, you can't swear like that. Because there are some persons, whether they're police or civilian, like we work over, a man swear a bad word, we should not summons him. They're in a big crime, but it's the little ones. I don't know how many people are familiar with Mayor Rudy Giuliani and William Bratton in New York City. Take back the streets, the broken window system. And when they were looking at small crimes to deal with the big ones. So, caller, Though you would like the police to do a number of things, in the end, you would then have someone cry out, it's a police state. The police taking charge of everything, and that could be problematic. So we have to work in the confines of the Constitution and the pieces of legislation that Parliament will enact from time to time in order for us to act and to bring civility to our society. So I just wanted to be mindful of that. So
you think partially there can be a misunderstanding between what the police can and should do as opposed to what the public think they can and should do?
Certainly. I'll give you a typical example. One time somebody said, look here, Officer David, y'all need to make a law for XYZ. I said, okay. Let me bring you back down to perspective here. We do not legislate laws, we enforce laws. Parliament, which is comprised of the government and opposition, they make the laws and we enforce the laws. And if we go outside of that, well, we are making our own laws. We're not supposed to do that. And then again, too, you will also have where if a law is created and some civic-minded person believe, look here, that law is unconstitutional, they'll challenge it. You know, they'll challenge it. So a number of persons, in my mind, they are not really aware of a number of things that the police can do and cannot do. And everything person believe the police should be able to do that. And I like opportunities like these where I can interact with members of the public and give a little education here and there. And sometimes I refer persons to a particular legislation so they can find whatever they're speaking about. So I do think, though, that our society, that's another topic again, too, I think that our society has to look at. An informed society. And sometimes if you have a more informed society, you have behavior change, because I know I'm aware. Sometimes I met a youngster on a bike. I said, why you riding your bike with no bell? He said, I didn't know I was supposed to ride with a bell. I said, look at your tires are defected. He said, well, I didn't know that. I said, look at your brakes. Well, you pedal back. I said, but you did another one because you only have one brake. Suppose that doesn't work. There's another one. And these are things, and because some adults, they are rebellious themselves, they will not teach the youngsters, so they will teach them, instead of teaching them to be model citizens, citizens who will be respectful to the law and others, they teach them to be disrespectful. You know, everything, they're just against everything that is good. So you know the old saying, Babylon system. And sometimes I ask them, do you know where that word come from? They say, no, but your Babylon still. And when you tell them where the word Babylon system come from, they say, okay, I didn't look at it that way. So we are just repeating a number of things, and we're not aware of what they mean and so forth. So we need to have a more informed society and a more educated society. Now, I'm not talking about educated in terms of academics. Educated in what you should do and what you should not do. That's where we have to go as a society in the 21st century. And I'm now using a term in terms of policing in the 21st century. And what we're doing tonight here from the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force is part of policing in the 21st century, engaging society from different aspects. We have RSS along with our local police, going outside there, doing patrols and other things. And I'm here engaging the minds of the people, educating, and even getting information. So we're learning from the public as well. So I learned from my colleagues here tonight. That's how they're thinking as the youth. Joe Weber, my friend here who is also with us as a cameraman, and people who call in, we are learning. And we're making adjustments here and there. Some of them, they have to be legislated, so we have to wait on what Parliament will do. If not, we have to continue what we're doing until Parliament decides to bring that up and make it part of our society.
You get the impression sometimes some people know whether something is wrong or not, but insist that someone must tell them not to do it.
Yes, that is something that comes up normally now. For example, you remember Inspector Carter, you came here, we were talking about traffic and crossing and so forth, right?
Yes.
Sometimes motorists, they are aware that once you see someone already beckoning to cross, you should give way. Sometimes if you're at the crossing, they will knock you off the crossing, you know. So you have to run out the road because nobody wants to stop. Yeah, I've seen where I tell somebody, I don't know, but you know, I work a lot in Sinkis. I'm from Sinkis. But when you see big truck coming in town and so, sometimes they take the time, but in Nevis, they might like a race car, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but so that is something we know we have to work on, and I've already spoken to Sergeant in charge of traffic. We have to do something about that because if the brakes of this truck just cannot stop the vehicle, and it is loaded coming on a hill, if you can push with dirt, it will do it because these are big trucks. And people have to understand, when you're in these things, you have to drive with more caution. I could recall a few years ago, a truck was coming down Timothy Hill in St. Kitts from the southeast. Brakes give away. Come down a hill, the fella had to jump out the truck. So you can't stop these. These are big monsters on the road. And I want our drivers right here on our island in my district to remember the life of another person. Don't wait until it's a loved one of yours you want to take a stand. Take a stand now. And that's what we're saying. Do not wait until you or a loved one become a victim to this antisocial and criminal behavior. Take it now to prevent it. And if we have a more concerned society and we want to see changes, it will work. So we are now, as the police, we are saying to our community, you have to be in it. You know, they're saying you have to be in it to win it, where society have to be in it in order to gain safety and security. Leave the police and government alone, it will be a challenge. Will we get there? Certainly, but it will take us longer than if society embrace what is there to make it safer, much better, more respectful, and even more country-oriented as opposed to self-oriented.
Mr. Vaughn, might I ask you, what are some of the things that you have learned that some of the young people who feel that they've been left out and so on and so forth, what are some of the things that you think they are saying or they might need in order to perhaps get them to move in a different direction?
Okay. Sometimes I myself feel I've been left out. But my advice to them is this. If you haven't as yet learned how to choose, you should learn how to choose. Ask somebody to teach you how to choose. That you would choose the good over the bad. And you wouldn't choose crime. Because each person at some time would have been tempted to do something like to commit a crime. You would have been tempted, especially adults. As a child, you were tempted to steal, but you were taught not to steal by loving parents and the consequences if you should decide to steal. So, my advice to these younger people than I am is, before you take action in doing anything, you should think about what you're going to do some investigations, take time, and then be wise in whatever you're doing. And most of all, connect yourself to Jesus Christ, who will guide you. Even when it seems that you don't know what you're doing, He's going to help you. That's my advice. Because crime is not like when you have a broken pipe in your house. You get some fittings and fix it and there's no more leak. Countries and islands would have crime all the time, but could be less. So what we have to do now is to try and work with the generation coming up, so we can make crime much less.
But you don't think it is already their philosophy, the way they think? So, you know, you think that we can speak to somebody today, and then they make a...
Yeah, I think so. I'll tell you why I think so. Now, I'm an Adventist, does take part into crusades. And there are people who just visit the crusades just for the lime. And they will hear the message, and the Lord convicts them. So you don't have to be a pastor to convict a person not to do something. So you can work.
So,
and
so
just
in
one, you could multiply 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then you'll have start with a village first. Then it wouldn't be a crime-free village, but very little crime in that village.
So in effect, if those of us and most of us who pretend that we want a good society were to really put our monies where our mouth is, as we say locally, if we help, if we encourage, and so on, we may not get 12, but we might get 2.
Exactly.
And that 2, after they are converted into this way of thinking,
right,
all of a sudden it is 3.
Exactly.
And you're building an army
right,
of action.
Right. Yes, takes time.
So you think that maybe we need to do more talk that get results, right?
Yes, sir.
Rather than just talk.
Right.
Yes.
And talk that get results has sacrifice in it.
Certainly.
Exactly.
Certainly.
So I tell people that all the time, that I've been doing this thing for longer than some of you have been here. Certainly this youngster here. And it comes with a sacrifice.
Right.
So when I keep hearing people saying all the time, I don't want to do it because I don't want nobody vexed with me.
Right.
That's a cost.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, we're not going to get it done.
No.
When, you know, people have things that can offer, but they don't want to come and be a part of the program or be a part of the discussion, you're not helping, you're not contributing, right? But you don't have to be a part of the program. You can help in some other way.
Right.
So that's what I mean when I say thought that get results.
Yes.
To do something so that we can make a difference.
Right.
And, you know, Superintendent, you made a reference about, you know, participating and so on and so forth, because I've been hearing everybody knows what the problems are.
Right.
And as far as I know, I have learned, and the evidence shows it. If you know what the problem is, it is halfway solved already.
Exactly.
So if we all know what the problems are, we only have a half another way to go. So how are we not getting there? Because somebody else want the other person to do it. But where goes the glory must also go the shame.
Exactly.
We have a society, don't you think, of one set of people doing the work, taking the risk, and then the other set look on and then go on stage, right?
Yes. That is so. That is so. It's so.
A caller called in and said, we must say it how it is.
Right.
So that's what I just tried to do.
Exactly. Yes, yes,
Superintendent, let me just go back to this RSS.
Yes, yes.
Because it is a real storm that is kicking up.
Yes.
In the wake of the, well, it's dying down in hurricane season and that.
Yes.
Why do you think people are so opposed to it if most of the society wants something be done? And now they said, well, let's get some help.
Right.
And you get the help. Why are people opposed to it? There must be reasons.
Well, when I look at it, the persons who are opposed to it, one, they might have been subjected to interaction with them. And some of the persons might rightly be so are persons who are perpetrators of some illicit act, and they might feel shameful, they might feel insulted, and some might say, well, okay, I done it that long time, so why you now come to me? And some may say, oh, he's my son. Remember earlier we were speaking about child, you want to defend your child? So you feel like your child should be exempted, and you fully well know that your child is stuff. But when it's someone else's child, oh, it's good they got him. Because you might have seen that person as an opponent to your child, and the less that person has, the more you get. When it's guns removed, drugs removed, you still have yours, and the person make a loss. So if one says to put it on a test, I guarantee you will see the persons who are saying they don't want the RSS here, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're in the minority, and also sometimes there might be persons who are also involved in stuff. Might be. Or it's because their children or their loved one or friend might have been interacted with, and whatever they say, they believe, as opposed to what someone will say, no, but he kicked off the officer, and the officer had to put the handcuffs on him. They don't want to hear that. You put handcuffs on my child. So our society is one, like I said earlier again too, wrong is right and right is wrong. And until we come to terms to accept the truth and want to remedy issues, as opposed to throw blame, that will not happen. And the RSS, just like everybody, they're not perfect. Maybe one or two officers might do something that ought not to be done. We will investigate it and we'll take the appropriate action. I know, and I can say that our senior officers, when they come and they will go, before they go, we have a briefing session and these things will be said. And I think I heard something when the Honorable Prime Minister said that they know that when they come in, that there are certain rules they have to go by when they're in theater. So therefore, if the rules are you respect the rights of people, you have to respect the rights of people. If the rules are you should not drive with your vehicle and when we drive on the left side, you shouldn't be on the other side of the road. What are you going over there for? You cause an accident. That's your fault. So something will slip through, and there are some persons who will not feel it. For example, I look at the clip with the caravan, right? That going from South America to America. And these persons, they're saying they're fleeing persecution. But then they reach where the Mexican police and so forth, and then they start to throw stones and bottles and so forth. You know, they have to use tear gas. So what I'm saying is that there are some persons are saying, look, what you're doing is wrong, and we come to do something here. And if they're fleeing from persecution, why don't you put violence? And it's a similar thing. We are saying that we needed the extra help with the officers coming in, and now they're coming to help. Stones, the verbal stones and so forth started to at them. So it's what do you want?
What of the allegations of the tactics that the RSS are using? You've been a police officer for a little while.
Yes.
Based on your knowledge, people are making allegations of the draconian tactics and so on that they made.
I saw a clip that went around in social media, and I thought that it was good to take the clip. So just in case they were saying something else, everybody see what the officers were doing. I don't think the officers would have did the person anything. They went and did what they have to do. And I think the officers went with someone. I didn't see anybody mistreat the person. Yes, you may not want him to be handcuffed and put into the back of the vehicle, but that's the only vehicle we had for conveyance of persons being arrested. And I did not hear, based on what I saw and heard, I didn't hear any officer use any strange language to the person, like cussing them and so forth. I didn't hear that one in that clip I saw. But we know that whenever we're doing these operations, we will get these complaints. But all what we're saying to officers, make sure you can justify your actions. And we're saying to the civilian population, comply and complain later, as opposed to make a situation worse. And if for some reason there's no reason to create a situation or a scene, let the officers operate in peace. But like I said earlier, a person will want to defend his or her turf because they feel like thing. Sometimes, like I said, they might be perpetrators, they may not be perpetrators, but they are relatives to someone who was interacted with, and they will have an issue. So it's not every time persons are saying things they might be perpetrators, but I'm a loved one, and I feel like that some people feel like we're spiting them, some people feel like it was unnecessary, but when you examine it under the microscope, the police, the soldiers, customs, immigration, they were acting within the confines of the Constitution and the necessary piece of legislation that they are governed by.
Okay.
But it's just misunderstanding, as we said earlier. People are not familiar with the process and the procedure, so they will complain.
And finally, Mr. Vaughn, final word?
Okay, the final word is a government in a country, an island, acts like the parent of a house. So I feel that the government, right now, if you have, let's say, if you should get about 4 deaths, gunshot, everybody's going to cry to the government. So I feel now, since we have realized some of the problems, I feel like it doesn't matter which government, they have different names. Take action, step up and see what you can do. Like superintendent agrees, check out the cadets, see how much young people you could put in the cadets, go to the parents, ask, and make it attractive, you know, and let them know it's for the good. And that's what I think, and that could help.
And Zadia, finally?
Well, persons who are involved in crime were first children, and children are from God, which were loaned to parents, and it is then the responsibility of the parents, both mother and father, to raise these children in the fear and admonition of the Lord. And if we do that, then we definitely would not have so many issues with crime in our society.
And finally, Superintendent.
I want to thank my colleagues for being here with me this evening. I want to thank you, Rebo. I want to thank the cameraman. I want to thank the community for listening and sharing their concerns with us. I want to thank my acting commissioner of police, who, when I asked, he said yes. And this is part of our 21st century policing, where when we go out and we speak to various sections of our community regarding crime and violence and see with their perspectives and get their ideas in order to mesh with ours, in order to ensure we have a good package in order to make our country much safer and secure. So I want to thank you again, Rebo, for having us. And maybe again too, once you permit, we will come back again. Thank you very much.
This program repeats tomorrow at 10 o'clock following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for On The Mark. This is your voice in the community. Thank you all again for joining us this evening. You all have a wonderful evening.